Public. All right, it's great morning on the Jacksonville First Coast, Florida. High school football season kicked off of sorts last night here. The actual games begin next week. They don't call it preseason kickoff classic anymore. They're calling it week 0 like everybody else. In other words, the 0 week, it don't count. So I still call it the kickoff classics. But that happened here last night, and had a lot of good matchups that you probably won't see. A lot of changes here in high school football, so better keep you up to date on that. But before I get into that, I don't want to talk too much about it. Georgia kicked off for real last night. They had some good matchups. We'll be getting to that later on. But today I want to real quick talk about a few things that's been taking place in the news. So let me get my little screen share going here, and then we're off. All right. So you see here, this is a picture of old Snoop Dogg. This is in the early part of the Olympics when he was interviewing Simone Biles's mother. And this was made available to Ms. Biles because Simone was concentrating. They started those gymnastics pretty early, so she couldn't make the interview. So mom stood in instead. I made the comment, if you recall, a couple of videos ago that, I thought they went on too long with that. She's not the athlete and she's not she's not competing. So why are we going on and on and on with this interview? And this part right here was pretty comical here because she called Snoop out because she said Snoop kind of like dissed her before and put him on the spot. That was a little entertaining, but I just thought the interview process with the lady went on too long because, again, she's not competing. And I made mention of that. But the reason why I'm bringing this up, because in the last week or so, there's been a lot of talk about Simone's real mother supposedly coming to the news outlets to vent about not being a part of her daughter's life. They're making it seem like that she is trying to all of a sudden get back in her good graces after being apart from her for so long. Well, all the reports that I heard with her mother and even her dad supposed to be trying to get back into her life. From what I understand or what I read, those contexts were taken out of place. Seems like to me they look her up. And this is the kind of things that the media does. They want to get a reaction to try to create a story, to try to get attention on their particular outlets and not necessarily the people who are their spotlight. In other words, they're painting the people in a different light. And one of the articles I read from her real mother, whose name is Shannon, she said that she hadn't tried to reach out. And if she has to reach out, she has to go through her dad. And if Simone's not going to do that, then she's not going to do it. But I really think this is a personal issue between them two. Hopefully, they can get things worked out to whatever is best for either one of them. But that's really between that family. And the fact that they put that lady and Simone in a situation like this, especially after doing so well in the Olympics, it don't look good. It don't look good for both parties. And the only person that really benefits from this is the one who's getting all the views from it. So the bottom line is the lady knew what she did or did not do. She knows what she's worthy of, but that still doesn't take away the fact that she doesn't feel for her own kids. You got to understand that particular part of it. But as far as what she didn't do, she knows what she didn't do and she knows what she deserves. So I think that should stay right there. But I just want to put my little 2 cents on that because I just think that they're trying to paint her real mother in a way that's far more negative than what it is. Only the family knows what the truth is, but the media is trying to get all they can, to get their views and their rankings up. And I don't think that's necessarily right. Concentrate on the sports and move forward. That's what I try to do. So I'm going to leave that right there. Speaking of Simone Biles, She took the silver in the individual floor exercises behind Andrade, Brazil. And then you have Jordan Chiles, who got the bronze medal. Now, I didn't think too much about this, but this is the first all-black medal stand in gymnastics. And that's a great picture. But the Jordan Child's issue is the biggest thing because she originally had like fifth place. And after placing fifth, the United States appealed and they were awarded the points that should have been given to Child, and she moved up to third place. Hence this picture with the bronze medal. But since then, Romania has appealed and they've been granted correct. So that means Childs is now being kicked off the podium and replaced by the Romanian. The reason being, they're saying that the American appeal came 4 seconds or 4 minutes after the deadline. Well, the Americans have since appealed that ruling. And they said that, well, they have proof that the appeal actually went in well before the 1 minute mark. And Childs's bronze medal should be upheld. After doing a little bit more digging, the United States Olympic and Paralympic Committee has determined or found out that the guy that's doing the ruling used to work for the Romanian government for 10 years. So who do you think his allegiance is going to be with? Romania, the country who used to dominate these kind of events, the gymnastics with the women, and tired of seeing the Americans win everything, especially when Karoli and Marta Karoli and her husband, they came from Romanian area, and they pretty much got the American program to on the road to where it is now. So who you think he's going to side with? He has clearly sided with Romanian people, and Childs has been kicked off the podium for now. But with all the evidence, it appears clearly that Childs should have that bronze medal. The ruling body has said that the rulings now are official and they're not going to go back. But we know who won that medal. And because of things like this, it makes the Olympics kind of shoddy. I go all the way back to the second Olympics I watched. That was the Seoul Korea Olympics back in '88. I saw Roy Jones obliterate a Korean boxer who had no business being in the final, but the only reason he was in the final because he didn't get knocked down or get knocked out. And because he didn't get knocked out, he got the favorable position from the South Korean judges. Roy Jones almost killed him, but they say he won the fight. The Korean guy won the fight. So the most egregious, the most obvious lopsided victory in Olympic history was not awarded to the winner because of country bias. Because the Olympics were held in South Korea, the South Korean boxer got the gold medal, but we know who the true champion is. And the same thing is still taking place on a smaller scale with Jordan Childs and Romania concerning this bronze medal in the floor exercise. Whether or not she gets the actual medal, I say you can have this medal. I'll be back next time. But at the same time, the United States should take care of Childs or let her keep that prize money because they know what the truth is. So hopefully that works out for Miss Childs. I've shown you this picture here before. That is Noah Lyles in the rear there, behind second place, Kenny Bednarik, and first place, Tobogo of Botswana. This is the men's 200-meter final in Paris. Lyles made story headlines for this particular race because he's the clear favorite to win this race. He is the world leader in the 200. He is the odds-on favorite. This is his event. He had just won the 100 meters in controversial fashion, according to some, but the photo finish clearly showed that he won that race, just like the photo finish here is showing that he's clearly behind in the race. And the problem with that is, after he's won the 100, he was pretty much supposed to be a shoo-in to win his event, the 200. But after the race, we saw this. Here he is, First, he was crawling all down on the ground, and as he tried to exit the stadium, he falls all down, and now he's getting medical attention. And what happened after that? He was wheeled out of the stadium. Looked like theatrics to a lot of people, but he said, or it came out that he had COVID. The media immediately, Mike Tirico and all the ones on TV start talking about COVID and how this affected his performance, but it didn't affect the way he came out of the shoot like he always does, jumping up and down, making all the noises and everything. He didn't seem to be affected by any of that stuff. So after the race, to Lyle's credit, like I said before, he didn't say that COVID cost him the race. He shook hands and he got off the track. But like I said before, I talked all that. He's the kind of guy that talks all that trash. And if you beat him, he's going to shake your hand. And then in the back of his mind, he's going to come back and get you next time. So that's the way I took it. But others didn't take it that way. Bring in Tyreek Hill. We all know about Tyreek Hill. He's that ultra speedster who got his fame with the Kansas City Chiefs. Now he's with the Miami Dolphins. And then you hear about him with all these kids he's got. He's got his own football team, pretty much, of kids. And he's a track star at heart. But Hill said that he thinks that Lyle was using the COVID thing as an excuse. Like I say, some people took it that way. It could be construed as such. I don't know enough about Lyles to make a determination one way or the other. But I do know, looking at those images, he didn't look too good. And I know if it was me, I'm not going to let you cart me off the stadium. I mean, I can't be dragged out like I'm going to get up and walk off. I don't even want anybody hovering around me. Get away from me. If you got to give me some attention, give it to me in the back. But if he's really sick, you can't really do anything about it. And I think something was up with him. But in any case, most of the time when an athlete is sick, they usually turn up pretty good performances. And he still got the bronze medal, which is nothing to sneeze at. But it's not the gold, which was supposed to have been his, pretty much in the bag. If you listen to guys like Michael Johnson, he say you're a hater if you believe that Noah wasn't going to win the 200. Well, there's a whole lot of people hating him now because he didn't win the 200, and Hill appears to be one of them. Now, one other thing about Hill, like I said, he was a track star in high school. Why did Hill run track instead of football? Football pays more, of course, if you can make it, but he wasn't guaranteed to make it, especially with all the troubles he had. And the problem with that is most of the guys that aren't peak at one event, they go do something else. Hill went to do something else, which means while you might have been blazing fast and is faster than most of the football players he's going to play with, how does that translate when he gets to the track? Well, Hill, when he was in high school, he ran a 20.14. That is a spectacular time for high school. I mean, 21, it's been a long time since I've been out of school, but 21 was my ultimate goal. If I ran 21, I had something to tell the grandkids. I didn't get anywhere close to 21, but that was the ultimate for me because it's still a school record at my school, 21 flat. That's what I was shooting for. And this guy here ran a 20.14. Now, I know what you might be thinking. You modernists think that everything that you do today is the best. Well, most people back then we ran on those old asphalt tracks. The tracks they have now are much, much better surfaces. You're going to run faster. The training is better. And we know more about the science of running more so than what we did then. So a guy like a Bob Hayes who won the gold medal in 1960, if he was running today, he would outrun the 1960 Bob Hayes probably about 3 or 4 steps. That is significant when it comes to time. So all you greatest of all time people, stick that in your cap because you just the benefit of modern technology. And Hill, this 20.14 gives him something to hang his hat on when it comes to talking about his track prowess. I'm mentioning this track prowess because Hill was asked, you criticize Noah Lyles, but what could you do with Noah Lyles? Hill said he would outrun Noah Lyles. Maybe not by much, but he would beat him. Lyles responded, who's this cheater guy? Who are you talking about? I don't know who you're talking about. He's trying to pretend like he doesn't know who Tyreek Hill is. He knows who Tyreek Hill is. And I think Noah, he trains down in Florida. Um, Tyreek plays in Florida. I think this is something that can be arranged. I don't know if Hill would want to do something like this during football season because trying to outrun Noah Lyles, you might just come up lame with a pulled hamstring or something, and that's no good during football season. But once football is over, like this spring, March or April, I think Hill and Lyles should get it on. Will it happen? Probably not. I think Hill's got other stuff he needs to worry about right now. And Lyles, he needs to get himself straightened out. So if he really had COVID, I hope he did because this wouldn't look good for him to try to make an excuse about why he lost a particular race. You're a professional. You win professionally and you should lose professionally. He did that, in my opinion. He shook hands and make no excuses in the media. He walked off, but in the back of his mind, he knows he's coming back to get it. So that's just my take on what's been going on the last few days. Again, Snoop Dogg, this is the interview with Simone Biles' grandmother, per se, and her grandfather. And she was given an extensive interview time at the beginning of the Olympics, and I just couldn't figure out why. I was wondering what's a real mother thinking, because a real mother is ostracized and away from the family, pretty much punished for what she did, pretty much throughout her life. She knew what she did. She's got to live with that. So, but as far as the relationship between her and the rest of her family, I think that's a private affair, and I can't give any opinions on that whatsoever. But a lot of people have roasted her real mother for being in the news, but it's the news people who came to her, and she didn't go looking for them. So then you have Jordan Childs incident. I think Jordan Childs should be allowed to keep that bronze, and if she's not allowed to keep the bronze, she should at least be able to get the funding for winning that bronze medal. And that's a great picture of all the Black women from different parts of the world, all in one shot. I think that's a great image. But I think Jordan Child should be awarded some kind of way for having that bronze medal, even though the IOC is going to strip her of it. Noah Lyles, again, took third in the 200, his signature event. He came up lame or said that he had COVID after the race, or it was said that he had COVID after the race. He didn't complain about it, but some people say he's using that as an excuse. And that just happened to be Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill can speak on speed because he has a whole bunch of it, and he has some track history of 20.14. Now, I'm sure he's faster now than he was then. So let's say if Hill trained for the 200, I give him at best, he probably run maybe a 19.8, 19.8 or 9, but that's still a half second slower than what you're going to find Noah Lyles. So he's claiming that he would beat Lyles. I don't think so. He had to catch Lyles on a bad day. Lyles had to slip in the hole, and Tyreek has to run his best race, but I don't think he's going to get any higher than a 19.8. And Noah Lyles can run that in a qualifying first round of a 200, no big deal. So that's my take on that. But anyway, let me stop sharing this screen. You got the NFL preseason going on. A lot of big high school games going on around the country, especially up in Georgia. I know I saw St. Thomas Aquinas down in Florida is hosting Bishop Gorman tonight. That's going to be a big clash. High school football is took off with ESPN, pretty much put high school football on a level that is unmatched in history. We always had the great athletes in high school, but now with the NIL, these kids, they got a chance to make a lot of money. But don't be fooled about them playing on ESPN, because ESPN, they don't typically pay those schools about $400 or $500 for them to be on TV. So what these schools need to do is muscle ESPN for some more money. But will that happen? Probably not. Because ESPN is going to say, well, why should we pay you all this money? Well, we can go down here to pay some public school who's not generating much money. They'd be glad to get on TV for this $400-500 we're giving them. We don't care about you and your superior athletes. We just want to see a good football game. And you can find a good high school football game anywhere. And I think that's what the people want to see, good games. Because just because you're a star in high school, that doesn't mean it's going to translate to the next level. But I still think ESPN, though, in all fairness, should pay these schools much more than $400 or $500. And I was still kind of shocked to find out that they pay that so little money to those schools to be on TV. But now with NIL, I think that's going to change a little bit. And if they're going to be paying all these colleges and universities heavy money to be on TV, I think a one-time shot like a Bishop Gorman and a St. Thomas Aquinas warrant more than $500 for them to broadcast that game. So it's just something to think about. But in the meantime, this has been Sports for Real. Got to hit the roads, hustle up a few bucks. And speaking of hitting the road, the Jaguars are playing tonight. I think they're hosting the Bucks. But when they open up in the regular season on September 15th against the Browns, their home opening, I got something for you. You think Sports for Real giving you good content now? Wait to what happens when the Jaguars take the field or after the field on September 15th against the Browns. Sports for Real is about to go big time. I'm out.